Welcome to this session for Scottish Summit. This session is called Microsoft To Do is Good for Your Mental Health. If you're going to tweet about this, please use the hashtag Scottish Summit 2021. So let's thank the sponsors. If you haven't taken the time already, please do go and have a look at what they have to offer. Without the sponsors, the whole conference would not be able to take place. So please do make sure that you go and actually speak to them. So a little bit about me. So my name's Eardley. I'm an MVP, MCT. I work for a consultancy called CPS. I'm the Hat of the Grey Hat Beard podcast. I run the Microsoft 365 Security and Compliance user group and the London Power Platform user group. So it's a bold statement to say that Microsoft To Do is good for your mental health. Well, actually, there is a bit of science to back this up. So one of the things that has happened over the last 100 years, going back to 1927, is people have investigated what it takes for us to actually remember things as humans. And one of the things that was discovered in 1927 by Bloomer-Ziegnerich is that actually we remember tasks when they are incomplete much better than we remember tasks when they are completed. A scenario that she investigated was how waiters and waitresses remember the orders that are on the go and how well they remember them once they've been completed. So they remembered all of the open orders, they remembered what people had ordered, they remembered how far through their meal they were, what was coming next, but as soon as that patron had finished their meal, paid and left, they completely forgot what they had ordered. And it really is an indicator of how the human brain actually keeps track of things that are in progress, keeps track of things that haven't been completed, doesn't have any closure on. And this increases essentially the cognitive load that we have on our brains. Now you might think that's great for waiters and waitresses, that's what they need to do. But if you think about our day-to-day lives, we all have tasks that we have to remember. And if they are incomplete, which let's face it, most of them are, then they can play on our mind. They can increase the way we maybe wake up in the middle of the night thinking about them. And that's all to do with us actually remembering incomplete tasks. Now, this was kind of investigated a little further, as you can see, a lot later on. Masicampo and Baumeister in 2011 kind of took this research and actually built on it and said, actually, one of the things that our brain does is it actually reduces the cognitive load if we even plan for completing it. So whilst we had the idea that actually if it was completed, it would be out of our mind, we wouldn't remember it, we wouldn't need to. Actually, if we plan how to complete it, that actually reduces the cognitive load. It reduces the amount of time that our brain actually spends thinking about things. So, if you think about this, that what it means is that even though we've got all of these tasks that might be vying for time and priority in our heads, actually, if we plan to do it, and we plan how we're going to complete it, then our brain doesn't have to worry about it so much. It's almost like we're offloading some of that concern into a task list. So once we've offloaded it, the brain has another little neat trick up its sleeve. Once we actually complete the task, ticking it off as completed gives us that little hit of dopamine. Now, dopamine is a chemical in the brain, and it does many things, but one of the things that it does is it makes us feel good. So that little hit of satisfaction that you get when you actually tick a task off, well, actually, that's your brain, the chemicals in your brain, actually triggering a release of a chemical that makes us feel good. So not only, do we get that little hit of saying, yes, we've completed it, but actually we've completed a task as well. So we need to kind of balance out these two things. The one side of actually tracking those tasks, making sure that they're not kind of lingering in our brains, going to wake us up in the middle of the night. But then also complementing that with, we actually want to complete the tasks. We want to make sure that actually we can see those tasks. And if you've ever worked in an environment where you're using maybe post-its on a Kanban board or a Scrum board, and you actually move the post-it notes, even that gives us that little hit of dopamine because we're actually moving the tasks through, we're progressing them, we're achieving something. So we really want to try and make sure that we are achieving things to complete the cycle. Just a point on that. it doesn't mean that you should actually create tasks just so that you can tick them off. That really counteracts the whole process. What you really want to be doing is just be getting into the habit of tracking the tasks that are coming in so that you can actually track them and complete them as well. So there is science behind this. There's chemicals in the brain. There's a lot of science that really backs all of this up. So what do we actually have to help us with this? We've got various tools. Now, we've got many tools. Microsoft have always given us tools that will help us do things. But we're really going to concentrate on what's going to help us actually track those tasks, but also to complete those tasks. So let's think about it. Where do we get tasks from? So we might have personal tasks, the things that we do at the weekends, the things that our better halves ask us to do, or that our children are nagging us to do. There are always going to be those tasks that we need to actually manage, and they're personal tasks. Things that maybe are only for us. We don't have to share them with anybody else. But also, and in a work environment, we'll have personal tasks. We'll make notes of things. And as I say, we may never show them. They may be, scribbled in a book next to us, scribbled on a piece of paper, on your own personal post-it notes maybe. The concept of the personal task, though, is that it is only for you. Now, although many of us really dislike email, we do still get a lot of emails. And inevitably, emails will have actions for us. They will have things that we actually need to do. Now, one of the things that we can do now is if we flag an email, that can be considered as having a task. It can have something that we actually need to complete in it. Something that isn't necessarily explained as a task, but is actually an action that we need to do. So we can flag emails. And then the final one that's up here is planner tasks. Now, if you've used Planner, you'll understand that they are really tasks that are there for a team to collaborate on, to have shared visibility of all of the tasks that as a team you are collectively responsible for completing. Now, all of these are really quite different. They're all quite different ways of managing tasks, but actually what we want to do is we want to bring them together. And this is where Microsoft To Do can help. We can bring all of these different types of tasks together into one interface. That's really useful. It gives us that central place to see them all, but actually more importantly, it gives us a way to actually prioritize them. Now, if I've got lots of personal tasks and I've got lots of planner tasks and I've got all of those emails that maybe my boss has sent me that have other tasks that I need to do, one of the things that I really need to be able to do is to prioritize them, and to prioritize them in a way that I can manage all of them together. So I want to be able to drag and drop. I want to be able to move them up and down so that I can quite literally order them in the right order for me to understand, well, this one is more important than this one, so it's the one I'm going to do first. I want to be able to flag things as important. So, maybe things aren't urgent. I don't have to do them today, but they're important that I get them done. So I want to flag them as important. But then I also want to be able to schedule them and track them if they're overdue, because that's a clear priority. If I need to do something by the end of the week, then I need to do it by the end of the week, and I can't delay it until next week. So it moves up the priority order. At the same time, if something's come through and it's important because it's come from my boss or my boss's boss, then I need to basically be able to prioritize those and choose which of those two things should I do first. I can drag and drop them and I can move them around so that I can see exactly which one I should do first. So it's really important that actually we can bring all of these together into a single place. Now, once we've prioritized them, actually we want to complete them. And this is where we have different ways of approaching this. So we have my day. Once I've prioritized the tasks, what do I want to achieve today? Now, the benefit of this is I can choose any task I want that's in to do, and I can flag it and say it's going to be done today. And it goes into what's called a smart view. That's my day, and that's all I then should be looking at for the rest of the day. But I can also take that and I can add them into the calendar. So into my Outlook calendar, I can actually drag a task so that it will essentially block out time. And I can say, actually, I understand I'm going to need an hour, 25 minutes, 15 minutes. I can block that time out so that nobody else can book that time for anything else. And then I want to be able to complete that task. And I might complete it from my tablet, my laptop, my phone, wherever I have access to Microsoft To Do, I can access the task and I can tick it off as being complete. So it's really useful to be able to understand that there are multiple places where we can see these tasks and we can actually manage them and complete them as well. So it's great. We've got a way to manage our tasks, but that's the kind of the what. The what tool do we use? How do we actually implement that in a day? Now, I'm using the term ceremonies here, and I'm using it to really kind of work out exactly what processes do we need to do, what do we have to carry out every day. So ceremonies to carry out every day and every week to try and help us manage not only the tasks that we need to do, but the time that we have to do them within. So my ceremonies are really quite straightforward. I have a start the week ceremony, and with the start of the week, I really want to assess all of the outstanding tasks that I have and work out what is important. So whether it's got a due date for the end of the week, whether it's because it was sent to me by my boss's boss, whatever criteria I'm using, I want to flag them as important. And then I want to really start looking at that importance and say, actually, based on the importance, how many of these tasks can I actually complete this week based on the time that I have available? And that's really important. I don't want to set my bar too high. I don't want to aim for the moon and say I'm going to complete every task that's outstanding, because inevitably other distractions can come in. I might have other work to do. So I want to really just measure and go, this is what I can get done this week, therefore this is what I'm going to aim to get done. That gives me the opportunity to manage expectations for those other tasks, or if needed, speak to my boss and speak to whoever owns those tasks and say, look, these are my priorities. This is what I'm going to achieve this week. So it's really important to kind of manage the expectations so that people aren't expecting you to do those tasks, whereas their priorities may be slightly different than your priorities. So manage that expectation. And then we get into each day. And, our task lists, they're never going to be the same all week. They change, they evolve. You're always going to get more tasks coming in, that emergency that comes in that's just going to destroy your week, and you're all of a sudden going to have to drop everything and focus on something else. So we need to be agile about this. We need to have the flexibility to work on a day-to-day basis and work out exactly what we're going to do. So start the day. I mentioned the start the day list earlier on. We want to really work out, based on the time that I have available, what am I going to do today? Take all of those important tasks and flag them to say, today, these are all going to get done. So that's what we do at the start of the day. At the end of the day, tick those tasks off as completed. Get that little dopamine hit. Make sure that you are flagging those tasks as complete, because you really want to be able to see this is how much progress you're making. There's nothing more frustrating, and I know we've all been there, and many of us might be there at the moment, where you just have an ever-growing list of tasks and you feel like you're not ticking them off. So it's really important to have that feeling that actually you are achieving something. Even though the task list may be growing, you are achieving something, and you never go a day without ticking off, hopefully, what you said at the start of the day, you're actually going to achieve. It's a great habit to get into. And then that end of the day, we also need to make sure that we've got any new tasks recorded. So whether that's just going back through your flagged emails, or going back through your emails and just making sure they're flagged, making sure that they're in the right place. If you get an email, but it's actually related to a team that you're working in and you have a planner tasks set up, then add those tasks in. Add the tasks into the right location. Make sure that they are tagged for you, assigned to you, so that you can actually see them in to do, and make sure that by the end of that day you've got everything set up so that when you come back to the new start the day process, you can see exactly what you need to do and it fits in to your priorities. And then at the end of the week, just remove the importance of everything. Start the next week with, I've got a fresh set of tasks. This is everything that was left over from last week. Now let's reassess the importance. Things may have changed. So just clear that out. Don't leave things as important. If they were important and you haven't managed to get them done in a week, maybe they're not as important as you thought they were. So just think about that so that you've got everything set up by the end of the week to say, right, I can relax for the weekend. Now I come back on a Monday morning and I can start with my start the week process. So as part of the end of the week process, the other thing that you really want to do is you really want to be thinking about what time you have available. So are there any gaps that you should book for focus time? Focus time, you can go in using the Insights tool in Teams, you can use My Analytics, but if you block time out as focus time, that should be time that is dedicated for you completing your work. So whether that's completing tasks that you have to do or other bigger things that you have to do, focus time is great. You need to think about making sure that that focus time is blocked in. Are there any meetings that mean you should move your focus time? Now, you need to be flexible. In most cases, if you block your focus time out, then it might have to still flex. Maybe a client or a team member can only do certain times, and you can actually move your focus time to accommodate that. So be flexible. Focus time isn't intended just to be rigid and the same every week. You need to actually flex it. So are there times when you need to move it? Have you scheduled time to prepare for meetings? And for those of you who know me, this is something that is a big bugbear of mine, is knowing what time I have to prepare for meetings, and also making sure that any tasks that come out of meetings are managed so that I've got those tasks already lined up in to do, and I can see that I have to actually assign time to them. So preparing is a task. You need to prepare for meetings, whether it's reviewing documents, whether it's just preparing content. Maybe you don't have to do anything, but just make sure that you've checked, make sure you've got the time to actually prepare for meetings. And then at the end of the week, maybe you're only working on your own. That's great. You can give yourself a pat on the back, but maybe you're working with a team. Celebrate your achievements. Either way, whether you've actually managed to, get 3 out of 4 days and you've done all of the tasks that you set yourself, or whether as a team, you've achieved a milestone or got a lot of tasks done. Make sure you celebrate your achievements. And with that, we're going to go into a demo.
Okay, so let's see what To Do can actually do. So here we are, we're in the My Day in To Do. This is the desktop app. It looks very similar to the online app, and we'll see that in a second. So the anatomy of To Do is simple. We have what are called smart lists up at the top. We have a default task list here, and this will show us our personal tasks, and then we can have custom task lists. So a task list is made up of a series of tasks. It has an option to put in icons if we want to make it a little more interesting, a little more visually stimulating, and basically if we create a new task in here, we can add a new task, and we can choose if we want to have a due date. So let's put tomorrow. We can choose to have a reminder, so let's say later today, and we can also choose to make it recurring if we want to as well. And then when we hit return, that task is created. So if we go into this task, what we actually have in here are the ability to put in steps underneath, so we can have sub steps that we need to do. We can add it to My Day, so we'll talk about that in a second. As I said, we've got reminders, due dates, we can put repeat. We can assign it to people. I tend not to assign it to people. Planner is my preferred location to have shared tasks. And we can add files in as well. Again, I prefer not to add files in. I usually use OneDrive to actually store my files. But I can add notes and add details. And so therefore we've got that task, and you'll see that it now has a little icon to say that there are notes, and it has the subtasks, and if I tick one of those off, then that actually disappears and it says 1 of 2. If I do both of them, then it'll say tick, there's 2 of 2, and to tick it off as complete, I simply tick this and it's ticked. And that's that. That's everything around a personal task. Now I can then, if I want to, I can delete it, or I can move it to other locations. So the personal tasks, these are really ones that we're creating for ourselves. Now with these task lists, you'll notice I've got it grouped, so I can actually have groups of lists, so I can separate them out into different purposes. Now I can also duplicate a list, so if I want to, I can duplicate it, and I can say move it up here to say, let's put it up all the way up there, and then I've got a copy of those tasks, so you can see the new task that I created. It's taken everything from that list, and that means I can create those copies, I can change the due dates, and then I can actually manage those separately. So we've got new tasks. I've opened to do, so I've got various things. So we've got the Windows app that we're looking at here. We have it available in all the mobile platforms. We also have it available in the web experience as well. So if I'm in Outlook here and I click on to do, then it will open up to do, and you can see it looks very similar to the experience that we had in the app. So I can tick those off. I've done all of those and they all get done, and that's that. And the structure, as I say, smart lists and the actual lists for personal tasks. Now those smart lists, let's just come down to smart lists here. So smart lists, what we have here, we have flagged emails. So if I have an email come in, so let's actually go back to Outlook and we'll come back in here. So I have say this task here, it says I've got late tasks. If I flag this, and let's just flag this one as well, both of those, I'm flagging those in Outlook, and what will happen is those will actually show up here. So flagged today, those have just come in here, and I can see those, and if I click on these, I get a link to open in Outlook, and if I click on that, it will open up in Outlook Online, and it will basically show me details of that email. So very useful integration, makes it very easy if you're just reviewing your emails to actually just go through, flag them, and then they will show up in our flagged emails. Now assigned to you, so this is planner tasks. These are any planner tasks that are actually assigned to me. So if we have a lot of planner tasks and they're not assigned, I won't see them in here, but if they're assigned to me, then I will see them. And what I have in here is I actually have a view of these, and I got them add to my day option. I've got the date, now that's coming through from planner, and I have the tasks in here. Now I also have this little option here, open in Teams. So if I do that, let's do open, and it will actually open up in Teams in the app, and it's come to this tasks by planner, and it's showing me that particular task. So I can see the information I've got in here. If I choose to actually tick that off, I can tick it off here, but I can see more information here. I can see the bucket, I can see the progress, the priority, and from to do, I can't see all of that information. I can only see the plan, and I can see that it's assigned to me. So I get more information, but I can actually just manage these in here, and if I choose to, I can actually tick that off, and when we come back here and we look at project 1C, that will eventually be ticked off, and we'll see that pop in there. So we have the ability to see all of the tasks that are assigned to me in here. Now I also have a few other things here. So I have all, and that's going to show me all my planner tasks, all my flagged emails, and then it will go through all of the shared tasks, so you can see the names actually map to what we've got down here as these lists. So it will show me all the tasks in one place. Now this is a really useful view when we're starting to use the ceremonies that we have to actually flag what's important, because we can flag these over here and we can say, actually I can see that maybe those two are overdue, so let's flag those as important. Maybe my flagged email from today, I want to flag that, so I'll flag those, and they show up as well. So the other thing I have here is the planned. So these are all of the tasks that have due dates, and it will show me overdue. So I might want to just say, well, actually all my overdue ones are important, and I can just flag all of those as important. Maybe I've got some for today, so I've got that there. Now if I do come up here, I can actually hide completed tasks. So where I've got these ones showing up, if I hide completed tasks, I can do this for any list. It will just remove those, which is really useful. So I can see everything that I need to do based on the date that it's scheduled to be completed. So now when I come into important, I can see all of my important tasks, and this is where we're consolidating. So these are coming from both my personal tasks, my planner tasks, and my flagged emails, and they're all coming into this one location, and I can see them all, and therefore I can actually choose, well, actually, maybe what do I want to do today? So let's add to my day. So I can do that, and it will pop in and we can see the numbers change, and I can do that from anywhere. So I can come in here and I might have these ones, and I can say actually add to my day, and it will show that just there to say add to my day. So I don't need to flag them as important. I can do, but I can actually just add them to my day as well. So my day then has all of the tasks that I want to do today. And this is really useful because this gives us that consolidated view, tasks that we have planned out that we want to be able to do today. So how do we actually make that happen? How do we actually do those tasks? Well, let's come back into Outlook, and we'll just close that link down. So I have my emails here, and I have my to-do, but I also have a few other things. Now I'm using Outlook Online, and I'm using it very specifically because I have this little option up here with a little tick, and it says my day. And if I click on that, it will show me tasks. Now I have the different views in here as well, so I can see my day. So I can actually see tasks that I have to do today. That's the same list that we were looking at a second ago. And if I need to, I can actually drag an email in and I can add as a task. So I've actually taken that email and I've taken it over and I've created a task for it. So it may not be flagged, but it will be a new task. And I can see I've got that little icon to say view email, so it knows it's an email. So I've got different ways to bring these tasks in. Now, what do I want to do with that task? Well, actually, I may want to schedule it. So maybe I want to actually come over to my calendar. And again, I have this in here. And I can actually then say, so let's just come back to my day. I've just done that showed tasks. So that email that we dragged across, that's actually gone into my tasks. So my personal task list. So if I come back to my tasks, my day, I have these here. So in here you can see, what have I got? I've got my start of the week ceremony scheduled. It's a recurring meeting. It's going to happen every week. I have my start of the day. I have end the day and I have end the week. I have some focus time booked out here. So I have time when other people can book meetings. I have focus time when people can't book meetings. Now if I want to schedule one of these tasks, maybe I have free time. So I can actually just drag this over and say, actually, let's just drop that in. Let's actually we know we're going to take a little bit longer to do that. So let's just give it a bit of extra time. So we'll do that, save that. And let's delete that. Let's do the right one. We'll just do that. And we know that actually we've got that task in there. And we've got the little icon to indicate that it's a task. And we can just do that. We can just drop these tasks in and say, right, this is when we're actually going to do them. So that actually we're blocking our calendar out. And people aren't going to book meetings over these tasks. So we wanted all of these done today. So let's just make sure that they're all in the same day. And there we go. We have all of the tasks scheduled in. And basically we now have our time booked. Now when we have this view up, we can see these and we can just tick them off here, and we can tick them off as they're done. And it will, we don't need reminders, it will just hide those, so we can actually manage our tasks quite effectively from here. And when we come back to do, we can see that actually in my day these tasks have disappeared and we can see that they're completed. So we have multiple ways that we can actually manage these tasks, see these tasks, and actually schedule these tasks as well, which is really important. If you have a set of tasks that you want to do today, get into the habit of just dragging them over. Use the web interface, drag them over, block the time out, and it will show up, and that's what we actually want to have. Now, if we come back to these, we had the tasks for Planner, and they went to Teams. So what do we have in Teams? So in Teams, we actually have tasks and by planner. And if you don't have that, then you can find it in here, and then you can, so it's just tasks by planner, and then once you're in here, you can actually pin it so that it's pinned to your left hand bar in Teams, and you always have that. Now the good thing about tasks for planner is that actually it shows you not only your tasks, so it will show you your tasks. So we have that email that came in here, we have our important, we have planned. A few things that we don't have my day in here, so that's one thing to be aware of, that that's not in here. But what we do have when we look at planned is we have more information about the planner tasks, so we can see actually the source. Well, actually these are coming from different sources. They are categorized, so we can see our purple categorization or our red one here to say marketing and dev. We can see that there are maybe attachments, we can see that there are subtasks, we can see they're in progress, and we can see priorities. So we can see a lot more information around these tasks. But we also have the shared plans down here. So if I click in here, I can see that actually there are 3 planners in this project. And if I come in here, I can see those, but I can also see the ones that aren't assigned to me as well as the ones that are. So I can see more information in here. And these tasks, it gives me these views so that I can see exactly what I need to do, and I can add tasks in directly here. So where you're actually consolidating your end of day or end of week, and you're saying actually make sure I've got all of my tasks planned, I can add these tasks in here much more easily than having to maybe go through, if I'm in Teams, I have to come in here, go to planner, maybe I then need to click on a different channel, and I need to click on the right tab, and then it will load up, and then I'll be able to add the tasks in here into planner. So different way to actually see all of the information that comes through related to planner. So something to be aware of, we've got this in here, it's within Teams, we don't actually have to leave Teams to actually see all of the information that we have. So now let's go on to the mobile app. So here we have an iPhone in use. So what we have in here, we have Microsoft To Do, and what you can see is I've got all of my task lists as we had before. If I come into my day, I can see my tasks in there as well, and I can tap those off and those will be completed. I can add tasks as well, so if I come into, let's do my demo in here, so if I want to add a task, I can do everything that I need to in there. I can add the task, so if I want to create a new task using iPhone, and that will go in there, and I hit return, and that's done, and I got that new task in there. And in the same way that I've got all of the tasks here, I can delete lists, I can manage all of my tasks, so I've got everything that I need in here to be able to see them all and to actually look at all of these tasks, look at the details, tick off anything I need to do, and make sure that all of those are done. Now what I also have is Teams, so let's come over to Teams. So if I have Teams in here, I can go through and I can click into a particular channel, and I can go into planner and I can see my tasks in here. But I also have within Teams the ability to say more and to come in and go for tasks. And again, I can see all of my tasks in the same way I could online. So I've got my important tasks, my tasks here. So we've got okay, that one was done. Let's look at planned. So I can see all of my planned tasks. I can see all of the information that I had, and I can also see my planner tasks. So I have all of that in here as well. So I can use my mobile phone just as effectively as I can use the web interface. Now another thing that I really like on this is, say we're in Twitter or something else, what we also have is if I want to share, I can actually share via, and I actually have in here To Do, and so I can actually share this, and I can choose where do I want to share it. So if I just share to my tasks, so that has all of my personal task lists in there, and if I do that and then I'll just add, and then that's done. And now when I come back to to do, and I come back to my tasks, so I need my list, then that should be in here, and I have my link from Twitter, and that's it. It's all embedded in there, and if I want to, I can click on that and that will actually open up. So if you do have other tools where you're actually maybe getting other tasks, things to investigate, things to do, then you actually have the ability to actually pass this tasks and share to do within here. So that kind of wraps up the demo. So now let's flip back to the presentation.
So we've seen the demo, we've seen how Microsoft To Do can be used. I hope you've seen a whole load of different ways that maybe you weren't aware of how it can be used. So let's just recap. What are the benefits of using Microsoft To Do? So we really want to be able to consolidate our tasks, those personal tasks that either, they are genuinely personal, or they're the ones that just you within a work context are making a note of, things that you need to do. You've got those flagged emails. We all love emails. They come in, they have actions. We need to be able to create tasks from them. So flagging those emails so that we can see them is a really great tool to be able to actually turn an email into a task. And then we can see our planner tasks that are assigned to us as well. We can see all of those together. That gives us the ability to prioritize all of those tasks together, to take them all into account, whether we're saying that they are important or they are scheduled with a due date. We can take those different factors, prioritize them for ourselves, and then we can always make sure that we are managing them from a weekly perspective with our start the week and end the week ceremonies. And then from a daily perspective, our start the day and our end the day. We can take those prioritized tasks and we can actually put them into My Day. We can drag them into our Outlook calendar and we can then complete them. And we want to make it easy to complete them. So whether that's on our phone, on our laptop, on our tablet, via Teams, there's lots of ways that we can actually complete the tasks that we have set ourselves to actually do either that day or that week. Now, right now, everyone is under a bit of a unique stress. It's almost a year. For those of us lucky enough to be in Glasgow a year ago, that was the last conference that I went to in person. So we've all had a year of working differently, adapting to the way that we actually need to work. And these are all things that, whilst we may all have been used to working together and having that conversation, some of these approaches that I'm talking about, how we converse, how we work together, how we manage these different tasks, how we communicate via Planner, via Teams, via email, they all give us different ways to actually adapt and actually manage the tasks that we need to do more effectively. So when you go back to work on Monday, just think about it. How can you help your staff, the team that you work in, the people who report to you, maybe the team above you, who do you report to? Reducing that cognitive load, making sure those tasks are not just sitting somewhere in your brain in a little corner. They're not planned, they're not complete, so therefore they're likely to wake you up in the middle of the night. If people start really suffering from anxiety, it results in absence. Anxiety is waking up in the middle of the night, it's worrying about things. So reducing the cognitive load really helps here, to just be able to say, actually, all of our tasks, all of our priorities, they're all more easy for us to share, more easy for us to work through. And it will increase productivity when everybody can see, actually, we are getting through these tasks, we are achieving these tasks. Everybody benefits from that. So if you really want to help your staff, yourself, your team, your boss, make sure that you think about how you're managing these tasks, how you are making it transparent. What are the pressures on your time? Why are you maybe not completing all the tasks that you need to? What are the priorities? All of these tools will help you actually make that easier for yourself, your boss, and your team. And with that, I'd like to throw it open to any questions. And finally, just want to say thank you. Thank you for taking the time. I hope the session has been useful. If you need to reach out, please use the hashtag Scottish Summit 2021. I'm on Twitter, I'm on LinkedIn. More than happy to answer any questions that you may have.